The door to apartment 4B was unlocked. Inside, the television was still on. A half-eaten dinner sat on the table, and Sophie Langford's coat hung by the door. But Sophie herself had been gone for 12 hours.
Sophie's sister called it in at 6 a.m. She'd tried reaching Sophie all night. 14 missed calls. When officers arrived, they found no signs of forced entry. No struggle. Just silence.
Detective Nora Okafor had solved 37 cases in her career. She walked through Sophie's apartment twice, touching nothing. On her second pass, she noticed something everyone else had missed. The chain lock was latched from the inside.
If the chain was latched from inside, how did Sophie leave? The apartment was on the 4th floor. One window, no fire escape. Okafor looked down at the alley below. 40 feet of nothing but concrete.
Detective Frank Russo had been working cases since before Okafor graduated high school. He arrived with 2 coffees and a theory. Sophie left willingly and someone locked the chain after. But that meant someone else had a key.
Sophie's boyfriend, Ryan Callahan, was the first person they called. He answered on the second ring. His voice was steady, rehearsed almost. He said he'd been home all night, playing video games, alone.
The building's security system had 4 cameras. 3 worked perfectly. The one covering the 4th floor hallway had been disconnected at 8:14 p.m. the previous night. Maintenance logs showed no scheduled work.
Carl Briggs had been the building's janitor for 19 years. He told Russo he'd seen a man in the stairwell around 8 p.m. Tall, wearing a hoodie, face covered. Carl didn't think much of it at the time. Residents come and go.
Ryan Callahan came in voluntarily the next morning. He sat across from Okafor in interview room 3. He was cooperative, polite, and had an answer for everything. Too many answers, Okafor thought.
Ryan said he last spoke to Sophie at 7 p.m. by text, but her phone records showed an incoming call at 7:52 p.m. lasting 4 minutes. The number belonged to a prepaid phone. No name, no registration.
Dr. Patel's forensics team found something disturbing in the apartment. Under UV light, fresh cleaning solution covered the kitchen floor. Someone had scrubbed that floor within the last 24 hours. Sophie wasn't known for cleaning.
When they checked Sophie's spare key log, one name appeared: Ryan Callahan. He'd had a key to apartment 4B for 8 months. He'd told Okafor he'd never been inside her place. That was his first lie.
They brought Ryan back the following day. This time, Russo took the lead. He placed the key log on the table without a word. Ryan stared at it for 9 seconds. Then he asked for a lawyer. For the next 12 hours, Ryan Callahan said absolutely nothing. He sat in that room, arms crossed, staring at the wall. His lawyer arrived and advised him to keep quiet. The clock ticked. The detectives watched through the glass.
While Ryan sat in silence, Okafor found it. A bodega across the street had its own camera pointed at the building's side entrance. At 8:22 p.m., a figure in a dark hoodie walked in carrying a backpack. At 9:03 p.m., the same figure left. The backpack was gone.
Russo watched the footage 3 times. The figure was Ryan's height, Ryan's build, and the backpack going in but not coming out meant one thing. Whatever was in that bag was left inside the building, or inside apartment 4B.
Judge Morrison signed the warrant at 11 p.m. 2 searches, Ryan's apartment and his vehicle. A gray Honda Civic registered in his name. Okafor assembled the team. They moved within the hour.
Ryan's apartment was immaculate, too clean for a man who supposedly spent the evening gaming. The trash had been taken out recently. The bathroom smelled of bleach. And in the closet, they found a dark hoodie with the tags still on.
It was in the trunk of the Honda Civic, folded neatly in a plastic bag. A black backpack. Inside the backpack, rubber gloves, a roll of duct tape, zip ties, and a bottle of chloroform. None of it had been used. This wasn't cleanup. This was preparation.
Okafor walked into the interrogation room, holding a photograph of the backpack contents. She placed it face down on the table. She said 4 words. "We found the bag." For the first time in 12 hours, Ryan Callahan spoke.
Ryan said he never meant for any of it to happen. He said Sophie was going to leave him, that she'd found messages on his phone from someone else. He went to her apartment to talk, to explain, but things escalated.
3 days before she vanished, Sophie had discovered Ryan's second life. A dating profile, months of messages, hotel receipts. She confronted him by phone. That was the 7:52 p.m. call. The call from the prepaid phone he thought couldn't be traced.
Ryan confessed that he'd been planning for a week. He bought the backpack, the supplies, all with cash from stores without cameras. He'd disabled the hallway camera himself. He had keys. He knew her schedule. He thought he'd covered every angle.
But Sophie wasn't home when he arrived. He waited inside her apartment using the spare key. He cleaned the kitchen where he dropped the chloroform bottle. He panicked. He locked the chain on his way out through a trick with fishing line. Then he drove home and waited.
Okafor asked the question that mattered most. Where is Sophie now? Ryan looked up with red eyes and said he didn't know. She never came home that night. He'd waited until midnight, then left. Sophie had unknowingly escaped her own fate.
2 hours later, they found her. Sophie Langford was at a motel 30 miles outside of town. She'd checked in the previous night after the argument. She had no idea what had been waiting for her at home. She had no idea how close it had been.
Ryan Callahan was charged with conspiracy, breaking and entering, and attempted assault. His 12 hours of silence hadn't saved him. The tape of his confession ran 43 minutes, every word admissible.
Sophie gave her statement the following morning. She said the argument had been about trust. She left that night because she needed space. She drove without thinking. That random decision to leave, to not go home, may have saved everything.
Dr. Patel confirmed it. Microscopic fishing line residue was found on the door chain. Ryan's method was simple but effective. Loop the line through the chain, close the door, pull it tight from outside, and the chain slides into place. He'd practiced it.
Detective Okafor closed the file on her desk. 38 cases solved. This one stayed with her, though. The idea that sometimes survival comes down to a single decision made without thinking. Sophie left because of a broken heart, and that broken heart kept her alive.